my favorite topic, always, always, is going to be the mortgaging of my kids' future by the U.S. government, in the form of the national debt. We're about to hit 36 trillion, people. I started this channel about 100 days ago, maybe 110 days. It was 35 trillion then. We're about to hit 36 trillion. In another 100 days, when I do the show, I'll remind you, of course, all of you, we're going to hit 37 trillion, because we're increasing the U.S. national debt by $1 trillion every 100 days. Okay? I'm going to be dead and gone by then, but why are you guys mortgaging my kids' future? Because that's like, all this debt is an anchor on the economy. Stop it, Washington. Stop it, Fed. And so the U.S. deficit reached, this is for the first 3 quarters of the year, reached 1.8 trillion in fiscal year 2024, or 6.4% of GDP. Our total debt at 36 trillion, okay, our GDP, total GDP is 27 trillion. Our total debt is 36 trillion now, about to hit there. So we're about 130% of GDP. In what planet? This is going to hurt. This is definitely not kosher. But just fiscal 2024, deficit, the U.S. national debt has gone up 1.8 trillion. And I'm going to give you guys the breakdown of our budget. So in your own household, you have a budget, right? You're grossing or bringing in 5,000. You have rent, you have car payments, insurance, food, gas, healthcare, whatever it is, right? You have a budget. If 5,000 is coming, so look at it as 2 pipes, okay? One pipe is the incoming pipe. Let's say it's 1 inch in diameter. That's where the money is coming in. If you have an outgoing pipe that's 3 inches in diameter, that's the U.S. government for you, okay? That's what they do. So the difference between a 3-inch pipe outlay and 1 inch coming in is what? We got to make up that difference somehow, and that's how the debt keeps going up, because our budget is not balanced. Now, if you do that in your house, you start buying stuff on credit cards, and then you start paying 30-40% interest on your credit cards. That's one fast way to go bankrupt. The only reason U.S. government is not going bankrupt is because they have the power to do what? Print. Well, I'm not going to say print anymore. Add zeros to the ledger. To just create money out of thin air and just put it on the back end, to the deficit, to the debt. Keeps going up. Just keeps going up. And it's going to keep going up. There's no end in sight. This is not politics. Whoever is in the White House, that keeps going up, because none of them have discipline enough to balance anything. If I ran my household like this, or if some of you are running it like this, you're going to go bankrupt, guaranteed. So the largest outlays in our budget is Social Security. Debt interest payments has taken second place now. It's above the defense budget, by the way, which just the interest payments is hitting $1.2 trillion to all the people we owe money around the globe, all over the place. And Medicare at $1.5 trillion. So Social Security is at $1.5 trillion. Interest payments are $950 billion, and Medicare is $869 billion. Those are the largest ones. And government spending has increased 10% year over year on our budget. So here's the budget. Here's the chart. U.S. deficit spending remains at crisis levels. No question about it. Okay. So probably in a couple of weeks, not less than a couple of weeks, in 10 days, we're going to hit 36 trillion. And I will remind you guys of that. So this is a pretty simple chart. There is a midline, okay? And there are bars, green bars to the left. That's the 1-inch pipe that's coming in. That's the revenue going into the treasury, okay? The biggest bar is individual income taxes at 2.43 trillion. The second biggest bar is payroll taxes at 1.7 trillion. The third one is corporate income taxes at 529 billion, and other revenue. So if you add those up, right, we're about 5 trillion. That's the pipe, 1-inch pipe that the revenue is going to the government. Now let's look at the outlay, the right side of that. Top one is Social Security benefits, 1.45 trillion. Interest payments, 950 billion. It's higher actually. And those interest payments, so what's happening is that the debt's going higher. The interest we're paying on those is going higher because we're coming out of zero interest policy period of 15 years. All those bonds that are maturing need to be sold, and more of them, but we need to give a much higher return to the buyers of those IOUs. That interest on the debt, not only the debt is going up $1 trillion every 100 days, the interest rate on those, it's called a coupon, on those bonds is going up. So that number, next time I talk about this, is going to be over $1 trillion. So Medicare is 869 billion. Department of Defense, 826 billion. I'm not going to laugh. It's a serious subject. Why do we need that many weapons? I don't know. But that's okay. But meanwhile, we can't help the people in the Carolinas. I mean, see, do you guys see all this money that we're just putting on fire? So basically, if you add all that up, okay, so incoming was 5 trillion, approximately. Outgoing is 6.8 trillion so far this year. So are we at a deficit? Yeah, 1.8 trillion total deficit. And that's why the debt, national debt, now that money is going to get borrowed. Fed's going to put out the IOUs, and our total debt, net debt, is gone up 1.8 trillion so far. And by the end of the year, it'll be 2 trillion. So what I'm trying to say is that, how about this, Washington? How about this? You know that a trillion, 1.2 trillion in interest cost that we have on this ridiculous amount of money that we borrow? Okay. How about you guys take just 100 billion of that, forget the rest of it, and go help these people, in those areas that there are still bodies floating in the Carolinas. How about we just go rebuild that whole area? You think you can do it with $100 billion? I think we can do wonders with that money. Because now, after that couple of hurricanes, FEMA comes and says, FEMA, we're broke, we need more money. Oh, we need to print more money, borrow more money to fix that stuff. No. Fix this. You fix this. If we get rid of $1.2 trillion in interest payments alone, how many things can we fix in this country? A lot. So, this is not my political speech, but I'm actually literally thinking of running for office for my city council here. Start there anyway, because this needs to end. Somebody with math skills has to look at this and say, this is not, workable. This cannot go on. And you guys are going to say, well, what do you want to cut, Serge? You want to cut Social Security? No, I can't, because I have 70 million baby boomers retiring next 10 years. They paid into the system. They should get their money out. Well, there is massive fraud. We need to cut that. There is that defense looks way too high to me. I don't know. I mean, I don't think the weapon makers need that kind of, money going in. Interest payments, how about we balance the budget a little bit so we lower that interest payments, right? I mean, we need to find places to cut. We need to balance this budget. We can't keep doing this.